Good morning, and I'm happy to welcome you to Eurythmy as a personal practice, brought to you by eurythmyonline.com. This is the sixth webinar in this series in which we teach the Hallelujah as a sacred practice. We will begin with a few minutes of introduction and then proceed to a 30-minute Eurythmy practice. Thank you.
This is the sixth and final session of this webinar series. As you know, we're going to continue on with more webinar series in the weeks and months to come, perhaps through an entire year or more. And in these upcoming webinars, we're going to be doing wonderful things like going through all of the vowels, going through all of the consonants, going through rod exercises, soul exercises, working on elements of therapeutic eurythmy to help you become stronger and more grounded. We'll be doing colors in eurythmy. We'll be doing the planets and the constellations, something I'm very much looking forward to, but we have to build that up over time, having laid the foundation on the vowels and the consonants first. So we have some wonderful journeys ahead. In each webinar, we'll focus on a particular theme, and at the end of that webinar series, you'll have a chapter of exercises that you'll be able to do for yourself as your personal practice. You see that this webinar series has culminated in the Hallelujah and in doing the Hallelujah 3 times. Along the way, I've taken great care to show you how to do the necessary elements of the Hallelujah, including, for instance, how to do each one of the vowels as an authentic practice. So I'd like to speak about that a little bit in preparation for what we're going to do today. Because when we begin going through the exercises today, I'd like to speak very little and coach you to do the practice as much as possible out of what you have already internalized as understandings and as inner activity. So let me speak into that space again for just a little bit. Remember, eurythmy is this modern spiritual path, unique in that it connects us with the very forces that created us. In doing eurythmy, we learn, first of all, to acknowledge that we are born out of spirit and we live in spirit. And in doing that, then we engage that part which is most deeply core in us as we learn to create and move our own astral bodies, our feelings, our sensations. We learn to create living pictures that make our movements true, but also as magical as fairy tales, which are life in the etheric world. And then we learn to move our gestures according to etheric lawfulness and not merely mechanical lawfulness, which might build muscles, but it tends to be mindless, ripping the etheric away from the fourfold harmony of the bodies. In doing this, we really sanctify what it means to be a human being. This is, by the way, work that we can only do with adults. Children are still living in an age of imitation. And so when I teach children, I teach them out of magical fun, but I don't say, visualize to yourself the light above your head. Visualize to yourself your weight. Feel yourself in the center. I don't use those words with the children, but I say, and now we're going to stretch up to the sky and reach down into the roots of the earth. Or we just go, wait, light with the children. But for you as adults to become truly whole, to make this into your practice of mindful movement, I'm committed to giving you the tools you need along the way to awaken. And now, before we begin, I'd like to read to you the quote from a book that I put in your lessons for today. This is, by the way, a wonderful series of 4 tetralogy, 4 novels that were written by a woman who wanted to create a book, fantasy fiction, if you will, and dedicated it to Waldorf graduates and Waldorf students. You'll see the name in the PDF file that I have for you today. And it's a very inspiring series. I love to read this every couple of years, as I love to read The Hobbit. And she writes in this book, or one of the characters in her book writes these words, or says this: "You are no longer children living in the arms of the gods. In these difficult world days, you must reacquire for yourself everything that you have had as a legacy from the creative world. You must make each gift no longer a gift, but your own. And you must do it with that which is most truly yourself only. You must wake up." In acknowledgement of that, let's dedicate our Eurythmy practice. I will step back into place. As I said, I will speak less today so that we can take our journey towards the Hallelujah at the end of the practice. Please take a stretch. And as earnest and as true and as real as Eurythmy is, because it touches deep truth, it's also inwardly so joyful. So feel the love for the creative forces living in you as you take your place. I seek within me creative forces working, creative powers living. The heavy weight of earth tells me through the word of my feet. The forming power of the air tells me through the singing of my hands. The strength of heaven's light tells me through the thinking of my head how the great world in the human being speaks, sings, thinks. We begin our movement practice. Again, I say few words today. We will do most exercises with 3 repetitions. Do weight bears downwards. Weight bears downwards. Feel the blue triangle going into the earth. Light streams upwards. Feel the yellow triangle. Take a deep breath. In the middle, I hold the balance. And release. And release. Weight bears downwards. Light streams upwards. Keep your head straight. In the middle, I hold the balance. One more time. But each time I feel more and more convinced and aligned with my heart where I hold the balance. Weight bears downwards and light streams upwards. My heart is my true home. In the middle, I hold the balance and release and release. Breathe, feeling the warmth of your heart. And now we'll remember our angel wings. Remember your arms start with your scapula. Lift your arms above your head. Lower them, spreading them wide, and then folding them behind your back. Raise them to the heights. Remind yourself, perhaps you already have, that your angel always accompanies you, lives in the etheric realm, and the angel movement is complementary to your physical movement. Feel the angel wings right now, folded below you. As you lower your arms, the angel wings rise. You meet at the midpoint, and the angel wings are high above your head. And continue. Open your back. Above all, feel the spot behind your sixth thoracic vertebra, the back door of your heart, where you open to the spirit. From there, spread your arms, hold them high. Throughout your head is looking straight forward. And now fold your wings into your heart. God has given itself, himself, herself to you, is reborn through you as seed, and you share yourself with the world. Creation changes through you. 3 times. 2. Beautiful. Enliven your imagination. Gratitude. And now we will combine that with stepping. 4 steps forward. You could do more. 4 will work. Or 3. And back. You remember. As you go forwards, each step becomes more tender. As you go back, tenderness changes to expanse. Now you will hear these words inside your mind, but you won't speak. Within my heart shines the light of the sun. Right, there is joy. Within my soul, gratitude, weaves the warmth of the world. I will breathe the light of the sun. I will feel the warmth of the world. Light of the sun pour into me, and warmth of the world flow through me. Notice how you begin to breathe with that. And we'll take the next step, enlivening the feet, often forgotten in our intellectual age. Stand straight, the back is full of light, the head crowned with stars, heart full of gold, legs full of your will, your human world, the gift of the gods. See what you make of it. In this short room, I'll take 4 steps forwards, 4 back. I prefer doing 8. Let's begin. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, place. Lift, carry, place. Lift, carry, and place. And backwards. Lift, carry, place. And now use the sensations that you have awakened in your back to learn to feel this invisible realm behind you. Good. I'll speak the verse. Light of the sun, radiance of the moon, splendor of fire, swiftness of wind. Let that make you filled with joy. Depth of the sea, stability of the earth, firmness of rocks, I bear in me. Again, you could do this outside, and you can do this for long periods of time, really feeling the earth through your feet. To take the next step in harmonizing this, we worked last time on this wonderful movement with the arms. So as we lift, we raise. Notice the back toe is still touching the ground. Carry, the front toe is ready to touch the earth, and place, and I lower my weight onto my foot. Lift, the back toe is still on the ground. Carry, the front foot is ready to touch the ground. Place. Sun rises, spreads its light, and grounds. Lift and carry and place and backwards. Lift, carry, place. This is an extra gift to your heart. Lift, carry, place, lift, carry, and place. Breathe. I implore you, do lots of that. Let it harmonize your rhythmic system, strengthening the screen triangle. And then I suggested in the notes for today that sometimes you turn your attention to this practice of walking more quickly. We developed that by taking ever shorter and faster steps. In the notes I suggested, let's try moving 1 step, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope you remember the arm movements. I start with my arms behind me. Throughout, my arms will move like a big bell. I take 1 step forward. I take 1 step back. I take 2 steps forward. I take 2 steps back. Always going back to where I started. 1, 2, 3. 3 steps back. I get back to my starting line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Front space, back space, scapula, and behind the shoulder blades. 3 steps. 3, 2, 1. 2 steps. 1, 2, 1. 2, 1 step forward, and 1 step back, and pause. Good. Of course, you're working on this the whole time. You're being sure to touch with the toes first. It's quite awkward if you are touching with the heels first, then you're not walking eurythmically. You're kind of just shuffling along like you do in life. But if you touch with the toes first, it enables you to really practice feeling your heart, looking at the space in front of you and behind you from the eyes of your heart chakra, which is another reason why we keep the gaze forwards. Don't look up, don't look down. Let the gaze be soft and feel from the eyes of your heart. So again, that was the 1 to 5 exercise. Now we will take the next step and we'll do the pentagram in standing. We'll do that 3 times. I remind myself of the divine shape of the human being. I draw the star on myself from my head to my right foot, left arm, right arm, foot, head, and shine inside. And release, and release. Let me turn around for you because the screen can create confusion about which direction to go. I start with my consciousness in my head, from the head to the right foot, left arm, right arm, left foot, head. I see the star drawn upon me, within me. I release. I release. One more time, from the head to the right foot, diagonally up, left arm, straight across the midline, down, and I'm actually seeing the lines in me. Back up to here, the line travels through my body, and now I make sure I can feel all those 5 lines. And release, and release. And now we have fun by walking the star. Do you remember? Imagine the star lying in space ahead of you, as if you were lying on the ground with your head at where your feet are now. Then the 2 arms are there and the 2 feet are there. Now, to make this clear for yourself, take your hand as a pencil of light from this imagined head on the floor. Draw a line to that where your right foot would be if you were lying on the floor. Draw a line to your left arm. Draw a line to your right arm, a line to your left foot, and back to your head. This is the star that you'll be walking. So let's do a star now with 3 steps for each way. Be sure you come back to this point at the end. From the head to the right foot, to the left arm, to the right arm, to the left foot, and back to the head. Are you where you started? Once again, to make it easier for you, I'll turn my back to you. I imagine myself, I'm standing at the head of my star. My arms are there, my feet are there, so my orientation is the same as yours right now. I walk from the head to the right foot, to the left arm, to the right arm, to the left foot, and back to the head. If you have done it well, at the completion of the star, you can see the 5 lines that you've just drawn. To my imaginative vision, I see these 5 shining lines that are now engraved in space. And when I work with students, if they've done it well, I can see their shining lines in space. One more time. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. Are your lines still there? As you do each line, the one you just did remains engraved. Now we'll do a varied number of steps for the star. We'll begin by doing a star with 1 step on each line, then with 3, and then with 5, then with 3, and then with 1. Begin. The first star is tiny. 1 step. Second step. Now you have 2 lines of light hanging in the etheric. You have 3 lines of light. 4 and 5. Your star journey is shining. Now we'll do 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Your star is there. Now we'll do 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I feel my shoulder. I feel the diagonal front. I feel my back. 1, 2, 3. 1 step. Front space. Back space. Side space. Diagonally front. Center back. I hope you can see how many things you're practicing with that. Now I remember I should give you one more clue in this. When I do the star, I start each way with what I call an open step. Let me show you. When I go forwards to the right, I start with the right foot. 3. I don't put my feet together here. And now I'm going to start with my left foot. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to start with my right foot. That's what I mean by an open step. 1, 2, 3. I'm back. 1, 2, 3. Often, I might deliberately choose to put my feet together. It's not wrong. 1, 2, 3, but then it kind of stops my movement. I try not to do that. But even if I put my feet together, 1, 2, 3, together, I'll start my next one with my left foot, so it's an open step and not an awkward cross step. 1, 2, 3. I might put my feet together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And back to the head. This is a simple exercise. Perhaps you don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but as I said, you're building so many skills with this. Now we'll put this to the side for a moment and we'll open the door to what is truly eurythmy when we begin to engage our body to speak. Once again, in movement, we'll create the 5 vowels. I teach my students to begin with the hands at the heart because vowels always start with the heart and consonants begin with the shoulder blades. We'll have to look at that later. But the vowels are the gifts of the planets that live, have embedded themselves in our heart. And if we start with our hands here, we can feel each vowel growing from here. We'll begin now. Ah, A, E, O, U. Ah, the vowel of wonder. Feel wonder, see openness, and lift your arms up into it. Ah. Answer that with boundaries. A. Internalize your heart consciousness, stand in the balance, the enlightened ego. E. Out of the E, we then evolve the capacity for community. O. Now draw your forces together from the roots to the skies. O. And rest. Our intention is to imprint these etheric forms into space. Again, ah. And to do it so fully that the room around you responds. The etheric space that you're standing in is filled with your resounding vowel movement. I draw the whole room together here, not just my body, the whole room. The whole room is drawn into this narrow parallel. And rest. I intend, I create the feeling, I see the shape, I flow, change, change, change. In Eurythmy, the mind doesn't think about what it has done. It creates the intention for what you're going to do. Now let's do all 5 vowels upwards. Ah, A, E, O, U. All 5 vowels in the middle zone with authentic feeling. What do you see there? Ah. What do you focus on? A, E. What do you embrace? O. What do you stream towards? Ooh. And into the earth. Ah. A, E. Ooh. Ooh. You can never practice enough of these, and I offer you many ways to work on them. Now let's do them on the 5-pointed star. And we'll do a star with 1 step in each direction. Begin with ah to the right foot. Ah. A, A, E, O, U. Always with feeling, which fills your heart with gladness. Now we'll do the 5 ways of the star just with ah, A, E, O, U, and all of the vowels in the upper zone. Ah, I revere the gods. A, I focus so I can see more clearly. E, I let them stream through me into the earth. Oh, I will to embrace them. Ooh, my feet are grounded so that all the more I can reach to the heights. And now I bring that into the community realm, the natural realm in the middle. Ah, A, B. Ooh. Ooh. Even as I do this, I feel my back. Now I ground. Ah. A, sanctifying and loving the deep root forces, E or E, either way. Oh, oh, unrooted. Yes. There are many, many ways that we can practice the vowels. And one more way that I gave on your sheet of paper was to work taking one step for each vowel. So let's try that again. And with this, I'm offering you ways to be improvisationally creative with the kinds of exercises you develop, always following these necessary steps to intend, to feel, to prevision, to stream, and then move on. And one step for each vowel, and I'll do them in the 5 different zones. Lift, carry, ah, lift, carry. This step is more aggressive. Lift, carry. This step is light-filled. This step is warm and generous. This step is earnest. Yes. Okay. In this case, I just want to do them going forwards for my teaching with you. I'll take 2 steps for each, practicing the different moods and the steps. Ah, 2 steps. A, 1, 2. E, 1, 2. Now I will go back. O, 1, 2. Ooh. Thank you. And now I'll do 3 steps. And I can only take 3 steps forward free, so I will do forwards and backwards. When I do, always engaging the front space and contrasting it with the back space. 3 steps. Ah. A, 1/3 of the way, 1/3. Arms match the feet, growing, growing, growing. That, oh. Oh. Rest. Good. This time I'll invert that and start by going backwards with the ah. And I hope you have understood the essence here that the arms do 1/3 of the way, 1/3 of the way, 1/3 of the way. And they do that in flowing fluid movements and not jerky 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So this is something you won't be able to do the first time. In learning to do it, you become more etherically integrated. Wonderful practice. Ready? Ah. Ah. A. E. Oh. Oh. And rest. Of course, you can do that with different numbers of steps. Now we'll do all the vowels forwards and backwards in the upper zone. 3 steps. Ah. A. E. Oh. Ooh. And rest. Because I'm in the front, as I continue my exercise, this time I'll choose to start going backwards. We'll do all 5 of them in the middle zone. Ah, A, E, O, O, and rest. And now down into the deep zone. Ready? Ah, A, E, or E, it's okay either way. Oh, oh, and rest. Dear people, I hope you can understand in this way of teaching. I'm giving you the essence of how to do your practice, and you have now the tools to alter and evolve and change this. Keep coming to these sessions that will keep building more and more experiences on them for you. I, for instance, do the planetary gestures for Venus, for Mars, for Mercury. I'm only indicating them, I'm not doing them now. When I do my stars, I integrate all that I know about the planets onto that process. But that's a future module to do with you. Let us move now to the final movements of this series and do the Hallelujah again. We'll do the Hallelujah as we learned so beautifully in the last lessons. We'll do it 3 times. And remember our journey here, that the first time we can choose to do it as a personal cleansing meditation. I cleanse my own instrument. And the second time, we can do the Hallelujah to cleanse the room that we're standing in. But to take it another step, we can do that Hallelujah and do it to feel the circle of people in the room that we're doing Eurythmy with. Or if you like, we can think about all the people around the world that are connected. And the third time we do the Hallelujah, I imagine I send my intentions into my highest ideals, to my spiritual teachers, to the souls of those who have died, to our planet that is grieving, and I send the Hallelujah out as a giveaway to all of creation. And then at the end, I come back to here and now. Because in the Eurythmy practice, we learn to move big distances. The walls disappear. We learn to move big distances, but we must always come back to ground. I purify myself of everything that hinders me from looking upon God. Open myself to the Spirit. Here's the ah. It's ah. Through the ah, I let the Spirit flow to the earth. 7 L's. Life-giving, washing my feet etherically. I cleanse my feet. I cleanse my knees. I cleanse my lower body up to the diaphragm. I cleanse my heart. The rose of the heart opens with the L. I cleanse my speaking. My words are true. Cleanse my thinking. The third eye, my thinking is true. I cleanse my whole self. And now with my earthly self cleansed, I stand at the threshold to the spiritual world. The door is open and I cleanse my spiritual seeing, imagination, cleanse spiritual hearing, inspiration. I cleanse spiritual beingness. Feeling myself in harmony, I take earth forces, raise them to the heaven, seeking blessing for the world and for myself. E. The Spirit, I receive my ego and I offer everything that I am back to my Creator. And the breath of the Spirit returns me to myself. I take a breath, create my next intention. This time I will give it to the different heights and energies in my room, or imaginatively to those who are standing with me in my room. You might clean your kindergarten like this, or your living room. And light streams to the earth level. We cleanse where we walk. We cleanse where we eat, how we eat. May the love in this house, in this room, stream from pure hearts, pure words, clear thinking. May this room be filled with loving light. We implore, we beseech deeper and truer source blessings. Spirit light, Spirit sound, Spirit truth. And to close, we offer our gifts to the greatest divine heights we want to aspire to. The gift to the angelic world for helping us, to the creators, as light for those who have died, whom we wish to help or bless. Thank you. As we close this practice and continue on to the questions and answers, be sure that you are really grounded. When you do this for yourself, if you're doing your therapeutic eurythmy or eurythmy as a personal practice, do take the time afterwards to lie down, to rest, to let these forces imprint themselves back into you. But today, of course, we want to continue on with some questions and answers. Just be really grounded. I want to talk to you again a little bit about what's coming up, but it won't be as long. Last week we went overtime and took quite a bit of time to deal with that. But I would love to have you continue on this journey. Many exciting things ahead. Planets and constellations. What else? What could be more wonderful? All right. I'm going to ask Michelle, my co-host, to come in and to help me now because I can't read the chats in this situation. Thank you.
Okay. So our first question, you'll want to take a step back for, or a couple steps. Someone asked, would you please show the single step star so we can see your feet?
Yes. Whoever that is, I don't know if you want me in front of you or facing the screen or turned around, but yes, like this. I stand at the head. I'm going to go to my right foot. When you look at my screen, it looks like I'm going the opposite direction. But I will take 1 step, 2 steps, 3, 4, and 5. I could, but I usually don't, pull in that step. 3, 4, 5. Should be clear. Thank you.
There we go. And the next question I actually put in for those for those who are new today, how can they access the previous 5 lessons?
Right. You'll find out today also. So at the end of today's lesson, I'll spend a couple hours editing the video, and then I will post it on YouTube. And YouTube has all 6 lessons from this series posted on it. So take your time and go through them one after another. You find them, I'll have the link on there. But for those of you who are more tech savvy and want to just go looking, go to my channel, search Cynthia Hoven, and YouTube says, did you mean Cynthia Hoven Eurythmy? Click on that one and you'll find a lot of videos up there.
Thank you. Angela asks, do you recommend wearing shoes while practicing?
I recommend wearing shoes because of always, there's something in us that likes to just strip down to minimum, especially me today when it's 114 here. It's just so hot. But it's always nice to have sheaths on our body, even if I just wear short sleeves. And the same applies to the feet. It's nice to have the feet encased in something sweet, something soft. Eurythmy shoes I like to have them with rubber soles. They're very light. They're essentially gymnastic shoes. If you don't have them, I prefer wearing little socks to going barefoot. However, I concede in this heat, yes, when it gets to be over 95, I do my eurythmy practice barefoot. And if I did it on the grass, I would probably do it barefoot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does the soreness on the top of the shoulders and back of the neck subside over time? I am imagining that it is from lifting arms more than usual.
Yes, it is from lifting arms, it's from sitting on the computer, it's from being so engaged in our intellect. It is so typical. Body workers always tell us so many people are tense in the neck. Even I get tense in the neck. Yes, it's to be expected. Eurythmy is a wonderful way to alleviate that. But also, of course, I like to roll my neck. And if I do it just physically, it's one of these, right? But in time, I learned to visualize soft flowing water going down my back. Yeah. And let this lifting and falling be an etheric experience. Friends, of course, I've got a physical body. I also do my neck stretches, but at the culmination of those, I try to make them softer. Of course, if you do go to body work, there's lots of nice ones, including cranial sacral work, very gentle release of neck tension. And as a lifestyle, get out and use your feet. Yeah. Sorry for you.
Gina asked, when doing the vowels, is one foot forward from the other? And where is the weight on the front right foot? Oh, on the front right foot or back foot?
Is that when doing the vowels or when doing the vowels? Let me try to build out that picture. If I'm doing them just in standing, I would have my feet together. If I'm teaching you and I'm talking about it, I might step into it, but that's because I've learned to be fluid enough. Your first intention is just to learn how to do the vowel as you're standing. Then, if you do the vowel with one step forward or back, as I experiment here, my front foot is firmly on the floor, but the back foot has a lot of power on the ball of the foot as I'm doing that. But that's not inherently the virtue of the ah. This is the arm ah, or I could do a leg ah. You see the legs are together here, like that. Yeah, equally spaced. I hope that helps to experience the vowels. Archetypally will have the sounds, the feet together. But as you become more free and more fluid, you can stay balanced in your center, even as you move your arms in all kinds of ways. I still carry the archetype of the sound through balancing right and left at all times.
Thank you, Cynthia. I think that explains
Complex.
it. I've spent so much time with body work. I'm so aware of where the weight is on the feet. So I see these details, all these details when I see you do these things. That's why I'm asking this detail.
Okay.
But I can understand too, it's really looking at the essence, the gesture, and then the fluidity comes, and then not get too bogged down with the feet when the gesture is up.
That's right. And what I just concluded there with was I'm always feeling my midline wherever I go. So even if I put my midline to the side, I'm always working with the balance of the two sides.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sarada asked, is it important to wear white?
Oh no. Oh no. I wanted to stay in white, to have a neutral color on. This is the color of the sun.
And Sangeeta asks, walking backwards, how does it help?
Oh, in every way. In every way. Give me a moment to remind you of our study about that. We people of the future, of the present day, are so bound. We are prisoners of the front space. Meaning, so here I want, again, give me a moment. There's a difference between All of our senses and our eyes are built to really look into the front world. Our arms, our noses, our mouths, we're really driven into the front space to engage in the things that are here in the sense world. And this is an image of our invisible resources, everything that's streaming into us all the time. Even when we live in the sense world, the spirit world is with us, watching us, but not interfering. You know? So most people of our age are prisoners of the sense world increasingly as we spend our time reading books, on the computer, driving cars, doing things, even including farmers digging in the soil. We're so engaged in that space. Walking back and everything we do, angel wings behind us, everything is a healing for us to become whole people, to become balanced between sense world and spirit world. And I give a lot of emphasis on that in everything I teach, everything you do in Eurythmy. You should be aware of your backspace as the dimension that you're learning to carry with you through life. I hope that helped. It's so important.
Thank you. Going back to the vowels, Regina,
Yes,
when doing the vowels, do you see the shapes in your mind?
I do. I do. I know where the vowels are going to go before I do it. If I'm going to do it up, I see this opening, this ah, and I fulfill it. So think of what it is in your life. You have a vision and you do it. This is practicing this in the very archetypal way. I see the vowel in front of me and I fulfill it in my body. This is how the world comes into creation. A thought precedes the manifestation. Does that sound? Yes.
Thank you. Someone asked, how long will the YouTube recordings remain available?
Yeah, we're working on that. As we move towards the future, we can't keep them all up on YouTube. So in the future, we are going to be moving them onto another platform called Spotlighter, and you will get the links for that. And once they move into Spotlighter, sometime next month, we haven't chosen the date yet, then we will be charging a fee for them, modest fee. But right now, everything is on the donation value. And once again, thank you for making this all possible. I've got lots of costs involved, and it's really nice that you step up and support it. Very, very grateful. But yes, once they move, sometime in September, we'll be picking them up and putting them on another platform. And then the next seminar, the next webinar, will begin to be fed into YouTube weekly. Do you have anything more to explain about that, Michelle? Is that clear?
I think that's clear enough for now. That's as clear as it is right now.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Regina asked, I often feel that I need to bend my knees a bit doing the exercises, for example, the Hallelujah, as if I'm going a little up and down in my body. Is that what I see correctly?
Actually, I prefer not. I prefer, my knees are never stiff. Don't really they are only that soft, just a little bit when I go down. But I try to keep this vertical axis intact. Even if I go down to the ground, I'm always in relationship to the vertical axis. But I learned to move my inner weight body in different directions. So you're not wrong when you want to go down in your knees, but there's a different way to do it. I go down and my muscles, the quality of who I am, especially below my waist, is changing as I go down. I feel this gripping. Even my feet are touching the earth differently, but I'm not using this elastic principle. Down, up. Everything's changing in my relationship to weight and gravity, etherically, but not physically. Hope that helps.
Wonderful.
Or was that too much information?
Just
Anyhow.
right. Tish said that the plumbing store's smallest diameter copper pipe
Uh-huh.
is 1/2 inch. The recommendation last week was for 3/8 of an inch pipe. Is 1/2 an inch okay to use?
It begins to get a bit wide, but yes, if that's what you've got, that's okay. And I still want you to aspire to 8 ounces if you can. A 1/2 an inch is okay. Anything bigger, like 3/4, really goes too far.
Okay. Someone asked, what is the name of the fairy tale you mentioned earlier today, please?
The tetralogy. I am so excited about this book. And once you read it, you'll have to, these books, you have to write and tell me how much you loved it too. The name is, it's the tale or the story of Aurigal. And I think it's better if you look for it on the PDF I sent. Aurigal, Aurogale. And I also have the author, Shirley Latessa, Latessa. And they're not cheap. They're thick paperback books, but what better time than during a pandemic to read these juicy books? I love them.
Okay, let's see. When doing the vowels, does it matter which arm is up or down?
That's especially important for the E, isn't it? The other ones are symmetrical right, left, but the E is different. Both are correct, right arm or left, but as always, our research is to see what feels different, what archetype is different. And this side, the heart side of my body, the feeling side is streaming to the earth, and the will side, the liver side, is up. This is a little more self-assertive. Whereas if I have the left arm up, it's more in service. My heart connects to spirit and my will side grounds. Both are correct. Experiment.
I like it. This one we may not have an answer for yet, but the question is, what will the cost be for Spotlighter? And that might be what will be the cost for the membership model when the videos leave YouTube.
Friends, no, there is no answer yet. We're trying so hard to figure this out, to figure out the delicate balance between donations, sliding scales, a sustainable model for me to cover my costs, and also find a balance for my work. We're trying to figure this out. You can send me your ideas. That might help. We're working hard on design. If I knew that it will continue to work forever for just donations, that would be great. But we'll have to see. Also, little background here. On my website, you might know there are nearly 60 videos going into all of these things in depth. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make them part of a membership model, so that instead of, right now you purchase either a single lesson or a group of lessons, like all the rod exercises or all the vowels or the sequence for immune support. You purchase them. Right now I put them onto a sliding scale, but we are trying to design a way to use that website more like a library, where you could go and say, let me just watch how to do the 7-fold rod exercise 3 times, and then I'll put it back on the shelf. And in a membership model, that would be one flat cost instead of purchasing it. Trying to work it out.
The next one is a suggestion. Someone said to try a different hardware store for the copper pipe. I used Ace Hardware in Carmichael. They had different diameter pipes. So I know people are from all around the world, but that idea of trying a different hardware store might work.
And by the way, in the next email that you're going to get, I do make the suggestion that if you just can't find a copper rod, you could, as a last resort or secondary resort, you could get a wooden dowel. And I would make the dowel, that one I would make a bit thicker, 1/2 inch to 3/4, 3/4 maximum, 1/2 inch at the same length. It's not nearly as luscious as a copper rod, but it is a viable option.
And you just answered Sarada's question of, is there anything that can be used in the absence of a copper rod? Okay. Daniel asked, what will we be doing next week? Well, I'll just put that question out there. What will we be doing next week, Cynthia?
Gosh, Daniel, that sounded like a prompt. Thank you. Joking. We will begin the next 6-week series. As I said, I've got lots of 6-week series coming up. Next week, working towards Michaelmas, for those of you who know what that is. We're going to take up 2 topics. One of them will be drawing heavily from the so-called soul exercises. Some of you have learned 3 of the soul exercises with me so far: the awe, reverence; hope, ooh; love, a. We'll cover those, but we will also add other ones like yes, no, sympathy, antipathy. We'll do an O exercise for deepening the breathing, an R exercise for harmonizing the rhythmic system, an A exercise for waking up and building agility and nimbleness. And these are, you'll get an email about this probably tomorrow or the next day, in which I explain it more deeply. But Rudolf Steiner said these make our etheric body into a true source of good health. What's not to love about that, right? So that will be half of the material each week, and the other half of the material will be the rod exercises. And I hold these exercises in such high regard. They work on agility, they work on presence. I call them my coffee exercises because they make me feel so clear and awake. And they were part of the Eurythmy curriculum that Rudolf Steiner developed from the very first weeks of Eurythmy to help just wake up into the body, and works against bad posture, against dyslexia, all kinds of things. So it'll be a really fun module.
Wonderful. Okay, I just put in the chat the name of the series, the Oracle series, and
Thank you.
I will also put in the name of the first book. There we go. Okay, next. Let's see.
I promise you, if you read the first one, you'll say, I can't stop here. I can't.
And then there is a message of gratitude. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for aligning these sessions with seasonal energies and indications. How precious this work is. Thank you from the depth of my soul. There we are. Okay, and we are at our time for closure. Yes. Thank you.
Dear people, so grateful to spend this time with you and to know how many people there are around the world doing this. There is one other way you can support me besides the donation, to support me and the practice, thereby supporting one another too. If you share the word with your friends, I don't have access to all kinds of email lists and Waldorf School mailing lists and all of that. I don't have access to that. So it's going to spread by word of mouth. And I'm really grateful if you bring along a few friends with you, for the sake of your friend and for the sake of our planet. We're doing good work. Save the etheric. Thank you. See you next week.